here at MIT. What we do know at this point is it's a very active crime scene. You can see that there's crime scene tape up and it spreads for several blocks down here. There are several people who have come down to take a look and see exactly what's going on here, whether they are faculty, people in the area, students, or other media that were covering the marathon attacks. What you are seeing here is a very active scene. There are canine here, there are helicopters in the air, there are Cambridge police, as well as school police, as well as state police, all here investigating at this point. They're trying to comb the area. We do not know if there are any suspects in custody, how many times this officer was shot, but what we do know, again, is that this is an officer that worked here at MIT, was taken to MGH, and we understand has life-threatening injuries. That's what we know at this point. Guys, back to you.
Kimberly, forgive me because I don't know. Is building 32, is that this is an on-campus shooting or was this an off-campus shooting?
I lost IFB in the middle of all of it.
Yes, she lost
IFB is the internal signal for the device they use to out in the field to hear what we're talking about. They would appear to be an on-campus building.
Well, I'm looking
32.
at a statement here that was issued by the Massachusetts State Police, which says the location of this building, this MIT building number 32, is outside, or the shooting occurred outside an MIT building. So that would lead us to believe that it was probably on campus. This advisory from the Massachusetts State Police also goes on to suggest that no arrest has been made, but a search is ongoing right now for a suspect or suspects. Again, as Kimberly mentioned, this shooting occurring just about a little more than an hour ago at the intersection of Main and Vassar Streets in Cambridge, which is on the MIT campus. And there's a map of it right now that you can take a look at.
But, virtually the whole area is the MIT campus, but sometimes there are some very fine lines, and not to suggest that would in any way alter the severity of the situation. The victim, as Liz said, is a male, and this videotape you're looking at is raw into News Center 5. You're looking at it at the same time. Liz and I are looking at it at the same time as our editors are looking at it. He has suffered life-threatening injuries. That's what we have been told, and that's according to state police. So Massachusetts State Police are saying that. But the massive response, you have Cambridge police on scene, you have Massachusetts State Police on scene, you have the MIT authorities on scene as well. So this is something that has completely involved all of them, and it's the unusual looking building on the MIT campus, because that's what we're seeing right there, even though it's dark night, but that's what it is.
This is also from the Massachusetts State Police saying that canine, air wing, detectives, and crime scene technicians have all responded to this Main and Vassar Street building in Cambridge on the MIT campus. We don't know how many shots were fired. We don't know where the gun is at this point in time, whose gun it was, but we do know that the MIT officer has suffered life-threatening injuries and, as Kimberly said, has been taken to Mass General Hospital. And we don't know much more than that at this point in time about his condition. There's a shot right now with the canine dogs that are responding to this scene as well.
No arrest. The last thing that Kimberly heard, and she is certainly on scene right now gathering information, but no arrest has been made in that search for the suspects. And so therefore that would lead you to believe that the search certainly is ongoing. There are obviously many things in the area. So there could be many reasons for what happened. There could be many causes for what happened. There's a lot of stimuli in the area. So the investigation itself is going to be overseen by the Middlesex District Attorney's Office. State Police are also assisting in the search for a suspect or suspects. At this point, we don't know which one it is.
Let's get back to News Center 5's Kimberly Bookman, who is on the scene. She's been able to reconnect with us via the telephone. Thank goodness for cell phones these days, Kimberly. What else would you like to share with us, please?
Hi, Liz. Sorry about that earlier. We're actually getting pushed back from the scene as we speak by state police, who want us further back so that they can investigate without all of the cameras and media. As I was saying when I was talking to you guys a bit earlier, there is such an enormous media presence here, and it's probably likely because of what's been going on with the marathon attacks and all of the attention there. A lot of this is foreign media who's here. Everyone has just sort of descended on this area. We are seeing stations from New York, from all of the networks, everyone coming out here to try and figure out exactly what happened. Obviously, this much attention wouldn't be normal coverage for us here in the Boston area. It would be the local television stations, but we are seeing an enormous amount of eyes all in this area because everyone is hypersensitive at this time after those marathon attacks, Liz.
What's also could be a part of it, Kimberly, too, is that you hear something of a shooting in Cambridge, and perhaps imagination runs wild, connects 1 to 2, and thinks that the shooting on campus or in the area tonight is connected to the work by the FBI in search for the marathon shooting. So you've got, you're right. You have a great focus of attention of people on the city of Boston right now, and then people might logically assume, let's get on scene. 1 and 1 might make 2. In this case, 1 and 1 probably makes 11, and there's probably no connection at all.
Right, Ed, I think that you're absolutely right. But again, we have nothing to verify that except for the fact that there is so much media attention on the area at this point. So anything that comes across on the police scanners, any kind of activity like this immediately gets a lot of attention. And we're not just seeing an enormous amount of media out here, but obviously students in the area all got alerts on their phones and their emails saying, stay away from this area. This is armed, an area that's very dangerous right now. What we do know is that there was a shooting reported, and so you should stay clear. And of course, all of these people who, are interested in knowing what's going on their campus, came down to kind of take a peek, and now we're being told, push back, push back, push back. Really, we're serious, guys. This is very dangerous out here. There is National Guard out here with machine guns. I mean, they are pushing everyone back. We were literally on top of Vassar Street. Now we're being pushed about 3 or 4 blocks back from where we were initially.
Now, Kimberly, if I heard you correctly during our newscast at 11 o'clock when this first initially broke, you were actually covering another story and were at Mass General Hospital when you saw the speeding ambulances going by. Is that what first alerted you to something going on?
That's right, Liz. We were at Mass General Hospital covering the president's visit there when he surprised some of the victims of the marathon attacks. Now, we were outside of MGH's emergency room, and at the very same time that we were learning there may have been an incident at MIT, we saw an MIT police cruiser rush in and about a half a dozen police officers, state troopers and whatnot, following that cruiser into the emergency room, as well as ambulances and sirens going off. And so immediately it caught our attention. It was the most activity we had seen at MGH all night, having been there all evening. And what we did see in one of the ambulances was someone working on a person doing what looked like compressions, but again, not able to verify exactly who was inside or what was going on. But from, the outside, standing on the street corner, that's what we were able to see, and then someone was rushed into the emergency room.
Kimberly, so, I want to put the pieces together now. You are being told to move away from the core, the scene, the immediate scene of the crime, correct?
Correct.
All right. So since you were being put away, the MIT on the MIT website, they're asking everyone to stay inside. So that would lead to the fact that they haven't caught anyone yet, and maybe they believe the suspect might be in the area.
Again, no way to confirm that at this point, Ed. The area that we were at doesn't look like there were dorm rooms. It looked like they were maybe classrooms. From what I could see, that the particular building that they were talking about, which is building number 32, in this alert that they sent out, I understand had a food court and was sort of a common area for students. So I don't know if the area where students would be housed is this particular spot.
Do you have any sense of what this building is? Is it I mean, I know they have so many labs on MIT, but we have no way of knowing what goes on in that particular building, do we?
I don't. From what I'm hearing from people out here is that building number 32, which had, again, sort of an interesting-looking dome and sort of glass windows, that there's a food court on the bottom and sort of a common area. But beyond that, I'm not sure. And then the other buildings, I believe, are classrooms. But again, I'm still trying to work that all out.
Kimberly, just I want to make reference for our viewers. Karen, can you go back to the Longfellow Bridge again? You can see the T is moving across, and that obviously is the Longfellow Bridge. There's a police officer boat in the water. You could see the lights reflecting in the water on the left part of your picture, and so there's a police boat in the water, but the T has just moved across the Longfellow Bridge, so they haven't stopped the T, and we have seen a couple of cars. There's another car going through, so they haven't stopped traffic from going through there, Kimberly. So where they're setting up an immediate perimeter is they haven't forbidden anyone from going across the bridge or coming into Cambridge.
I can't comment on where you're looking at, Ed, just from where I'm standing right now, which is, again, just sort of the Vassar Street area, several blocks, in either direction. They are pushing everyone far away. And the area that I am standing at is where those gunshots were reported. Now, again, that doesn't mean that that's where the gunshots were fired, but they were reported from. So whether someone heard them and called from that area, or someone saw something and, it happened, whether there was an incident that happened blocks away and then it transpired here, we're trying to piece all of that together right now.
I believe Building 32 is called the Strata Center, and I'm not sure exactly yet. I'm trying to find out exactly what that is, but I believe it's called the Strata Center, Building 32. So I don't know if that means anything to you, Kimberly, if you know much about the campus at all. But
that is that's what students and faculty are referring to out here as the Strata Center. And again, that's how they described it, was sort of a food court on the bottom, and again a common area.
It's hard to it's the unusual, for lack of a better way of describing it, it's the unusual looking building on the campus of MIT.
Right.
It's when you see it in the daytime, you go, oh, that's the building. That's the building that's the area that it is anyway. I mean, when the camera pans up, that's the side of the building that we are showing you.
Yes, and now I can tell you again, just to reiterate, that state police are saying that these are life-threatening injuries. When I did have an opportunity very briefly to talk to the MIT chief of police as he was driving away from the scene, he looked very emotional, and I said, Chief, can I stop you for a minute? Can you confirm that's one of your officers? And he said yes, and he kind of took a deep breath and kept on driving. So clearly emotions high here, and if we're hearing that these are life-threatening injuries, very, very serious.
Right, absolutely. And since the initial burst, Kimberly, you haven't seen heightened police urgency on scene, or you haven't heard any more shots, right?
I haven't heard any more shots, no. I hadn't heard any shots to begin with. By the time we got here, it seemed like that portion of what had happened is over. However, I would say there is definitely an increase of police presence here. Not only are we seeing MIT police, Cambridge police, state police, transit police that we've reported on, but we're also seeing a gang unit that came in. There's helicopters overhead. There are canines on the scene. So they're bringing in everything. There's an incident unit here. So it certainly looks like they have all hands on deck.
Well, Kimberly, also,